Next news topic. This is a game that John's been hugely excited about, and I'm just going to hand it over to him.
That's right. It's out. Earthion. This is so essentially this is a brand new Mega Drive game in 2025. Genesis.
It's
if
what
you
we
will.
need in the year of our Lord 2025.
Agreed. But you say, John, the homebrew scene on the Mega Drive is huge already, right? There's a ton of new games coming out, which is fantastic. What makes this one extra special, though, is that we actually have someone that was there working and did some of the best stuff back in the day on the Mega Drive / Genesis when it was still current. They've returned. It's Yuzo Koshiro and his buddy Wada-san, they've worked together, the small team, to build a brand new game for the system. So as far as I know, this is like the first real example of a developer going back to hardware that they worked on like 30 plus years ago and like making something new for it. And I think that is super cool. So right now it does only have a Steam release, which is of course, running, I guess, like an emulation layer on top. So hopefully we get a cartridge version soon enough, but I have played through this, or not all the way through yet, because I'm trying to, master the game still, and you can't just like credit feed to the end, which is good. But this is essentially like the most impressive shooter game I've seen on this 16-bit hardware. They've really pulled out all the stops, and right away, like the visual effects, the quality of the artwork, the animation frames, you can tell they have more cartridge space, because I guess what this kind of stuff and other games like Paprium and all that have revealed to me is like the Mega Drive was capable of a whole lot more than what we really knew back in the day. And I think it was more, that system was limited more by cartridge size, the cost of ROM chips for storing the graphics data. So a lot of games were very small, and that affected the visuals because everything's super tiled. Here they have more space available, it seems, and so they're able to do a lot of fancy, very detailed graphics and tile work, and just these really like awesome scenarios that, like, the game begins in space, and you have the ship actually flies out towards the screen, spins around, and then you see all these massive, super detailed, non-tiled looking background ships and everything that you're flying through and destroying. Eventually you make your way down through the Earth's atmosphere, and they have a whole scene there, and then you're flying over the ocean at sunset, tackling bosses across the waves before flying into like a ruined city, and it's weirdly and amazingly dramatic looking. And of course, Koshiro-san was known for, Streets of Rage, Bare Knuckle series, the music there, the ActRaiser soundtrack. Like, he's done so much amazing music over the years, and this is no exception. It's one of the best sounding things I've ever heard come out of the Mega Drive to this date. Like, just the quality of the instrumentations. Like, you can tell he really understands exactly how to use the sound hardware in this system, which we already knew, right? Like, it's not, but he still has it. And the compositions are great. And it sounds very different from like Streets of Rage. It's not that sort of 90s dance music. It's more almost Konami-like in a way, but with its own twist. This basically almost feels like an arcade game from that era, as opposed to just a normal console game in terms of just the quality of everything happening. And I think that's just super, super cool to see. So it's like $20 right now on Steam. There's other versions coming down the line. It launched on Steam first, but like it's just the sheer like legacy of what this creation actually means, I think, is something super cool, and that should be celebrated. And also just the game itself is just an absolute blast to play if you're into these like old school 2D shoot 'em ups. I mean, I feel like even Rich, who has a long history with the system from back in the day in your old Sega Magazine days, I feel like you would really enjoy playing this and just kind of like sink into that old feeling of playing something new on the Mega Drive that's really pushing what the system can do.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see it. I've got a couple of questions, John. I mean, this extra memory, is there like a theoretical limit to how much memory you can give to a Mega Drive cartridge?
I'm sure there is a limit.
It's got to be like an addressable limit.
Right. Like, I don't know what, like, because you can do bank switching, of course. Right. I don't know the exact size of this game. I just know that like Paprium, which came out some years ago, that's been crazy situation around it, but I've played that as well. I feel like that's like 96 megabits or something.
That's awesome.
It's a huge game, and you can tell like the amount of content and graphics in there is nuts. This one, there is a ROM file in the folder that comes out to 24 megabytes for Earthion, but it doesn't just, I tried it in Blastum and it doesn't just like load up in an emulator. Who knows if there's a way to do that or not. There might be. But right now I couldn't get it going just on a quick test. So it's probably encrypted to some degree. But
yeah, that was going to be my next question as to whether you could take that ROM file and put it on like a flash cart and run it on original hardware.
Yeah, so that's an interesting thing, and that's also like a concern, right? Like that would be cool, but at the same time, that also runs the risk of people just sharing the ROM around online, right? And I want to see a game like this succeed more than anything else, because like I want to see more developers from back in the day take a chance on this kind of project, to go back to the roots. And I think having these sorts of constraints really brings out a lot of creativity. And of course, in the modern era, there has been a lot of work done to smooth out development, and people know more about how these old pieces of hardware work than they ever did back then. And it's all the shared knowledge, which really allows you to do some just really interesting things with it. Cool. So
I was just thinking about back in the day when we used to get like preview or review code. We had these like PCBs that you just plug into the Mega Drive, and it had like flash chip sockets.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and basically we would be supplied with just the chips. And so you'd have to take out the chips that were in the existing cartridge, put them aside, and then just insert these new chips into the various slots. And then you could, 50-50 as to whether it would boot or not. But usually,
that's fun, actually.
Yeah, because basically those chips were reusable. They could reflash them, and so we'd have to send back the chips. We get new chips in with new games and stuff like that.
Oh, I wish you could have kept all those.
Well, I keep, I'm sure I've told this anecdote before, but, there's a lot of game archivists that get in touch saying, you reviewed this game back in the day. Did you still have it? And first of all, a lot of the games were sent back, or a lot of the games were on flash chips like that, which, would have been sent back or would have degraded. But at the same time, there was a lot of stuff that just, ended up in a skip outside the office. And that's the end of it. It's just carted away to landfill, which is probably not what these guys want to hear. But unfortunately, that is the reality.
I know. So I am quickly curious. I guess you were going to segue to Oliver there.
Yeah.
Like, as someone that did not grow up with the Mega Drive / Genesis, like when you see something like this, what do you think? Like, how does it strike you?
I'm just really confused because I'm on their website, and it says there's no digital edition for the Sega Genesis. Couldn't they just put it up on the Sega Genesis eShop? I don't get it. That's so weird, John. Why would they just have it there? So that's my feedback. Is they should put it on the Sega Genesis eShop.
Well, it's closed, Oliver.
I've never even heard of a physical game before in my life. So
it was called the Sega Channel, Oliver, and you could digitally download games back in the mid '90s.
Oh, really? Okay.
But unfortunately, it's down. That was a service that. So there was actually digital downloads for the system back in the day.
Wow,
it was the first one to do it, I think. Or one of the first, but yeah, it was. You could a lot of games came to the U.S. that didn't get cartridge releases because they showed up only on the Sega Channel. Wow. And my buddy Chris actually had the Sega Channel, and it was very bizarre to see that at the time. You could not even imagine. But
crazy stuff. Yeah, and of course there was the Satella View, wasn't there?
Yeah, which had a lot of interesting. That did like satellite radio kind of broadcasts and stuff, where you'd be playing a game with a broadcast running, and there's some wild stuff there.
But it sounds like this one's a strong recommend then, John.
Yes, if you have any interest in this sort of game, I seriously just go support it, play it, enjoy it, let it wash over you, and have fun. And I got to get you a copy of this, Rich. Absolutely. I might gift one to you or something, because I need to hear your take on this.